Hello everyone and welcome to I believe this is game 7 now in this King of the Hill. It is going to be Ella of Marine versus, I believe the Korean name is, spells out special something. I'm not 100% sure. I will just refer to him as the Blue Terran from here on out. A Blue Terran versus Marine. That may get a little bit confusing as Marine is a red Zerg player here at the 6 o'clock position of the map. This is going to be Shattered Temple. And Shattered Temple, a map that generally favors Terran players. So we'll see how Marine does in this game, as it is not going to be on dual site as it was in his previous matchup, a map that is a little bit more Zerg friendly, now facing up against a Terran player, and a Terran player on a map that is a little bit more Terran friendly. Now, so far, a lot of these games have been going back and forth outside of the original FXOs, I believe it's JKS. No one's really won more than 2 games in a row. Soccer losing his second game followed... Soccer losing his second game. And I believe Marine is on his second game now. So we'll see if Marine will be successful or not. So far, a barracks is being established on the front door here. Most likely a supply depot will be placed down here in just a moment. And once that supply depot is done, then no drones will be able to get in. Meanwhile, though, an Overlord currently flying overhead. It does spot the refinery coming into play. And this is going to be a standard gas now after this barracks. We'll see what exactly the strategy will be. Most likely it will be Reactor Hellion. Meanwhile, the Zerg player quickly getting up a hatchery here. And this hatchery going to be successful at being able to just get up a spine crawler on the ramp and then prevent anything from really happening. The drone will be able to sneak by since a refinery was placed down, not having enough resources for a supply depot on the front door, as a Marine now being trained up as well. Taking a look at this, Marine does have one Overlord still parked behind the mineral lines here, and we are going to be getting that additional supply depot here. We should be transitioning into a factory in just a moment. This Marine now not exactly sure what he's looking for, perhaps hunting for an Overlord that still is not anywhere on the map. The Overlord, as you can tell, is currently floating right behind the mineral line, as now this Marine perhaps going to come back on the inside of the base and try to shoot the one unit out of the air. You can see that the barracks is currently lifted off, a factory now being added into play, and this is going to be a problem for the Terran player. The Terran player is not going to have a reactor anytime soon, as the barracks is overhead. The Overlord will get spotted and that one unit will get taken out. The Overlord, as soon as it gets taken out, Marine is going to be behind. He will be supply blocked. He will be forced to train up another Overlord using up one of those precious larvas, as the Overlord has been destroyed. There it goes, and now adding on a reactor. The barracks, however, still floating its way down here. A new Overlord making its way in. An SCV now coming back all the way around, as we do have a factory coming into play, and now just training up Hellions. So the Hellion is not going to really be able to do very much of anything. There's not going to be double training on these Hellions, as the Marines are still just wandering around here still. Without double Hellions, I do not believe that this front door is, or any of these units will fall anytime soon. Marine with one spine crawler here, also getting up that Queen sitting on the ramp, pretty much knows that only Marines can be trained. We are going into a starport now, and we are adding on a reactor here, so I'm curious to see if it is just going to be a straight up reactor Hellion with medevac, and then trying to go for a cover fire drop. There is a Marine on patrol far off over here. We are at 27 or 28 over 35 food compared to 34 over 36. And Marine now setting up a macro hatchery here on the front door to make sure that no units are able to run in along the far side. A little curious about the locationing, as normally I would see the macro hatch placed down here instead. And with a macro hatch here, then the units may be able to get in on the far side, but they won't be able to get up that ramp all too easily. 2 Hellions now still sitting on that front door. You can see that we are going into a starport with a tech lab already, training up a Banshee, and this is going to be double starport, no cloaked Banshees here on Shattered Temple. So I do not think that Marine is suspecting this at all. There is an evolution chamber currently coming into play. The command center is on the front door, upgrading to an orbital command. Double Banshees, and if there is perhaps 4 Banshees in the air, that is going to be very difficult to stop, as the queens are not going to be in position. The queens, as you see, are currently sitting over here at the front door, making sure that Hellions do not make their way in. 4 Hellions on the front, torching the hatchery now. The queen now might try and make a little bit of a move here, as we are getting a bit of injects, and now all this hatchery can do is take a lot of damage and perhaps get destroyed. We are still sitting on Marines, still patrolling back and forth. There is what I believe a 3rd Banshee now being added, and perhaps even a 4th one to be added in just a moment. Yes, it is going to be 4 Banshees off of 2 starports. The Hellions now dealing a lot of damage, as you can now see the Spine Crawler looking to come in. The Spine Crawler has started to unroot itself. It looks as though the Spine Crawler will take a little bit of damage as the units now back off, and now in comes an Overlord. Marine looking to shoot down that Overlord here. The Overlord, I do not believe, no, it will actually spot one of those starports, but I don't believe it will spot double starports, as if it did spot the double starport, that pretty much that strategy would be completely nullified. You can see that there are Banshees just hiding off here. A 4th and a 5th Banshee now being added, as queens are now making their way back over here to the main base. The Banshees, it's going to really depend on where they try to go, where they're going to go. The Banshees could easily perhaps make a run into the front door here, take down the Spine Crawler, and then there would only be Hellions to deal with the Zerglings. Banshees now looking to come in here. The queens are backing off. The Spore Crawler is going to take a lot of damage very quickly. There it goes. Already taking one down there, as the queens are now looking to push their way in. One queen taking a lot of damage. You can see that Banshee down to 23 hit points. One Banshee now very low. The queen now perhaps going to try to change targets. Is it going to be enough? No, not enough in time, but it looks as though the Hellions are now going to try to come back in. 2 queens on the low ground here. 4 Banshees in the air with 2 more Banshees coming in. This is going to be a very, very bad day for one Banshee. One Banshee gets destroyed. Another Banshee already getting destroyed. So it is now 3 Banshees to 2 queens. Zergling's now going to try to test that front door still, as we now see a bunch of Hellions sitting off over here. The Hellions are all in a very good position, torching, lining up against all of those Marines there. And now a Spore Crawler trying to be added. The Spore Crawler may fall. No, it is not going to fall, but the layer is going to fall there. There it goes. Down goes one of those hatcheries. One of the bases are ready, and now Elev Marine in trouble, as he's only able to mine off of 1 base. 38 drones versus 39 SCVs. A 3rd command center already built. Will be upgrading to an orbital command. The destructible rocks have not yet been destroyed. 4 Banshees in the air, as we are still training up more and more Banshees. Gonna be soon up to 6. And those 6 Banshees may be able to fight back against all of these queens. And once again, we may see a creep tumor placed down. Otherwise, these buildings will start to bleed to death. The larva will get destroyed, as the Banshees now simply flying straight in here, going after one building at a time, going after a spire as it's trying to be built. It looks like the spire may get taken down. Yes, I believe the spire is going to go down. Down it goes. Before any mutalisks are trained, the Banshees are now backing off, and we are once again teching to Tier 2. So now that we have air superiority for quite a little while longer, as we now need to tech to Tier 2 for Elev Marine, followed by the rebuilding of that spire, it is going to be about a good 200 seconds before we see that come into play. The front door still has a bunch of supply depots, 1 bunker there. Hellions and Marines looking to take down this set of destructible rocks. That will take quite a while. No siege tanks that I can see. 1 Thor now being added, as the Banshees perhaps going to regroup once more. 5 Banshees in the air looking to clean this up. Missile turrets being reestablished a little premature, since the Banshees have already taken out the spire, and we'll see what will come in next as the Banshees now look to follow this up here. 1 Spore Crawler low on hit points, and that 1 Spore Crawler just going to get absolutely destroyed. It will start to bleed, and there it goes. And now all that is left is a spawning pool and an extractor. The spawning pool, if it does get taken down, will force another rebuild. There are now Banelings coming in. 1 Banshee finishing off the spawning pool there, and now the spawning pool already starting to bleed. A creep tumor could be placed down, but even if it is placed down, I'm not sure if the creep would spread there fast enough, especially if with Elev Marine currently just asleep at the wheel, not really doing anything about this spawning pool, and it looks like it will start to bleed to death. No, going in for some transfusions first. Orbital command now established up on the top left-hand side of the map. The looks as though the spawning pool is still just going to continue to bleed. No creep tumors whatsoever. Zerglings and banelings looking to do a suicide on the front door. Siege tanks without siege tech. Is it going to be enough? 7 banshees here. Banelings are in position. 1 marine is going to catch this. Oh, 2 banelings go down, and now in we go. The banelings trying to crash over inside this front door. The banelings are now just going in after those hellions. The hellions are really the key here, as the hellions, as soon as they all fall, the Zerglings would be able to finish up the rest. It looks as though this store may get taken out, but no, L of Marine is forced to say GG, as the Terran player now taking the top place here on King of the Hill. No player really able to win 2 games in a row after the initial 3-game start. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this Terran versus Zerg here on Shattered Temple.